This is my submission for the 262 SDL assignment. So let's hop right into it. So we come to the instruction page on Scratch, and it says here that this is an example of 2 study questions on the assigned reading, which for this example was The Great Gatsby. Press the green flag to begin. So let's make this just a bit bigger, and we'll press the green flag. So hello, my name is Ralph. Let's go over some review questions. Who was the title character in the novel? Select A, B, or C. So then your options come up here. The answer for this one in The Great Gatsby is obviously A, Gatsby, so let's select it. You get your little graphic and your sound. You got it right, good work. Press space to celebrate. So we press space, and he does his little dance. Next question. In which year was The Great Gatsby set? Select A, B, or C. So the correct answer for this is actually B, 1922, but I just want to show you what happens if you were to select the wrong answer. So let's say we press A, you get your little graphic and the noise, same for C. And then when we press B, it'll do the same thing as before, you get your little thing. Fantastic work. Press the up arrow to party one last time. So same little dance with the music. Thanks for all your hard work. See you next time. So let's go out of here and then take a look to the inside of the code. So you start off with the main part here, which is the dinosaur. It's kind of the more lengthy section. So you have when the green arrow, when the green flag is clicked, you have when the space bar is pressed to kind of trigger the dance. And then you have these 2 little side pieces here. So just to give you an example what this one means, when the backdrop switches to jungle. So I didn't want the answers, the A, B, and C to show on the screen while he was talking. So after he asks the first question, I had to create a new backdrop, which is jungle 2. So it had to switch to that backdrop, and then you'll see at the beginning of each of these codes, when the backdrop switches to the second one, they pop up. So when backdrop switches, show. Same thing for B, and then the same thing for C. So then, since A was the right answer, you can see how we got back to the dinosaur. It switches back to the first backdrop, the jungle, and then all 3 of them have that same ending here when it switches to the backdrop jungle that they should hide. So we go back here, and then you can see when the backdrop switches to jungle, which is the first one we were on, it triggers him to say good work, and then asks you to press space to celebrate. So that brings you here, and then at the end of that code, it triggers the second question, and then the same thing, kind of, it had to switch to a third backdrop to get the second set of A, B, and C to pop up. And then I have this last dinosaur here because for some reason the first one, his code was looping after the right answer, like B, was pressed in the second set of questions, and I couldn't figure out why. So I just got rid of him, he hid, and I put up a second one standing in the same place and just rewrote the code for the dance. The only thing I had to switch was the key that triggered it, and then obviously instead of asking another question, he just says his closing remarks. So to jump into the learning aspect of this, so obviously the questions are super simple and straightforward, so the activity could be seen as really good for younger students, but I actually see this as a good opportunity for all age high school students even, because instead of just having the teacher make the code with the silly dances and presenting it as a quiz, the activity can actually be created by the students. So every student can kind of be tasked with making a code for one question, and the question can be multiple choice, short answer, whatever they want, and then we present them to the class and go through the answers together. So this obviously works as a studying opportunity because we'd be covering course content, but on the other side of that, the process of creating the activity itself will be very beneficial because students will be able to experience the hard work and creativity of their peers. So that will make the learning process A, more enjoyable, and B, definitely more meaningful to them. Then if we look at SAMR and Bloom's, so as just a method of study, these quizzes aren't more than modification in SAMR because they really just directly replace a pen and paper multiple choice quiz, and it doesn't really go past understanding within Bloom's. But when you turn it into an assignment to actually create the code itself, I put this under redefinition in SAMR and creation in Bloom's, since both of those aspects entail the creation of a task or of content that wouldn't otherwise be obtainable. So in this manner, the students, they're taking control of their learning in a way that's fun and educational for them and allows them really to connect with it on a deeper level. Then if we look into the QEP competencies, this roughly falls into the English language cycle 1, competency 1, which uses language and talk to communicate and learn. While it's not focusing so much on the talking aspect of it, it is requiring them to use their language to develop the questions and identify the answers. But then it falls more clearly into the second competency, which represents literacy in different media. So in order to successfully make the code for Scratch, they have to show a certain amount of understanding and media literacy for the platform itself. Then if we want to talk about accessibility, so in the creation of the code, Scratch offers many different languages, like for the use of the website. So this is very beneficial for ESL students because while the final product will have to be presented and submitted in English, the designing process can be done in whatever language the student feels most comfortable with. So that'll be great, especially if the students have never interacted with Scratch. They kind of have to get through that learning curve. So to do that in their preferred language will make the task a lot easier, and they'll feel more comfortable to get through it and feel confident that they can produce something that's worthwhile. But then for accessibility, like in the actual presentation within the classroom, Scratch allows you to record your voice. So on top of typing out the questions like I did in my example and having them appear on the screen, which is beneficial to the hearing impaired because they get to read it. Students also have the option to read out the question. So it can the audio can play while the text is on the screen, and that will be beneficial to the visually impaired. So it kind of, everybody gets covered here. So that is my project overall. Thank you so much for your time.